Boom, what up, y'all? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. I am your host, AD Walker, the pusher, the grower, the motivator. Appreciate you guys for being here. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. What's up, Mama Corey? Great morning to you. Lisa in the building. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a dope live to watch too. Maybe. What's up, everybody? So we're back. Welcome. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Lisa. I know. We're not going nowhere. I promise. I just had some stuff. I didn't want to be on, be off, be on, be off, because I had stuff kind of sporadically do the week. I just gave it consistent. Trying to be consistent. All right. So appreciate you guys for being here. We are the topic today we are talking about is race, right? And we're talking about are we too hung up on race sometimes? And these conversations. And I wanted to talk about a news story that kind of came across my feed on Newsbreak, an app that I feel like we were all forced to take. that's a conversation in itself. Like, where did Newsbreak come from? Because I didn't download it. I just know it showed up on my phone. What up, Jeff? Good morning. Good morning. And we're gonna talk about that. Hey, have you guys been following the Apple Watch situation where Apple kind of conveniently stole some technology from a heart monitoring company? And I don't know, that always trips me out, right? You have a meeting, I guess they see some of the plans, and then all of a sudden they come out with something, and they're like, "Oh, look, we created something. Could it be coincidence?" And they've in the, I think it was the international trade, one of the trading companies. They were in favor of the heart monitoring company, but then there's another trading company that threw out their ruling. So now it's like hanging in the balance. And I'm going to just say, Apple needs to stop being greedy. Go ahead and give these folks that little piece of chunk of this technology, because y'all know y'all stole it. Stop it. And listen, stop it. Apple needs to stop trying to get all the money. That's all I'm saying. Like, I get it. You're trying to stay relevant, trying to stay a giant, but you can't take everything. Shout out to Amazon. Sometimes they at least share a little bit. Shout out to Google, because they give a lot of free stuff. They share, right? See, use a heart monitor every day. They created technology. They showed you, they gave you like the thing, that blueprint. I'm sure you was trying to come up with like, oh, that's the cord, that's the code to make this thing work. Because I'm sure they've been trying to do it, because that was my issue with the whole watch thing. I was like, if it could help save my life, somehow it'd be worth buying. So we're gonna kick it off. Let's get into it. We can kind of talk about that. Let me just throw my intro on. New intro coming soon, but not right now. All right, be right back. Stand up. All right. Good morning. I need to give you a minute. Oh, vitamins. Vitamin taking time. Vitamin time.
I got caught.
It'd be better if you had like a turkey, bacon, and cheese in your.
No.
That'd be better.
No, that's what I'm avoiding. Forgive me. Look, I'm almost done. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left.
All right. Good morning, Pastor. Good morning. All right. Welcome back. So yeah, like, and we could switch it up a little bit. This is just gonna be like, listen, it's gonna be a combination of the Freestyle Fridays and weekly stuff all together. Because me and Pastor, we didn't have enough commentary to really talk as deep as I really want to talk about this issue. So it'll give me some time to really dig further. But yeah, why are companies so greedy sometimes? Like, why are companies so greedy? Like, even listen, and I gave Amazon a prop, but at the same time, they janky too. Because now what they've been doing is like, if you know how Amazon works, I can be a seller on Amazon and sell my product. And because they're Amazon, they have access to all the information. If my product starts blow upshuating, Amazon's like, oh, everybody wants this. Let's create our own version of this product so we can get some of that cash. And they've been doing that with, what's it called? Amazon Essentials, I think it's called. And they've been basically, you know, and of course it's their platform. If you type in a particular item that you're looking for, who's gonna pop up first? Like my little product or their huge backed marketed product, you know? And I get, like I said, I get relevancy. I get you're trying to ensure that you survive and stay big, but why are companies not willing to share the bag when their bag is so big? Because you know, like, I think for longevity's sake, it's a good look. You know, I don't know. Do you have somebody, a company that you're loyal to, that did something for you years ago? You know, that you just like, you know what, I stick with them because they did such and such for me or somebody in my family. You know, they looked out. And if it's one of them things that they even went against policy to look out, you're kind of like, I'm loyal because of that. And because I think about a guy I met, you know, he's loyal to American Express because years and years ago, his grandfather died on a flight to Antarctica, and he was like, I don't know why he was going to Antarctica, but and at the funeral, American Express showed up with $1 million check, you know, because he had that life and, you know, that death benefit, you know, if he used the card or whatever. And he's like, I'm American Express forever, you know, like because of that, you know, just because they came through. He said, hey, brothers, let's see. From
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. He said, hey, brothers from different mothers.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Richard. Happy birthday to you. That's all you get, man.
That's all you get. Are you one? Are you two? We ain't got time to count that far.
What a blessing, man.
Yes,
to see another year. That's awesome.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. He said, hey, morning. Healthiest pastor around. The healthiest.
Hey, I'm a work in progress, man. Work in progress.
Happy birthday, Richard. But yeah, I don't know. I know this is a sidebar. 59. All right. Awesome. Congratulations, my brother. Keep pressing. Thank you for being here, always hanging out with us. With us, young folk.
There you go. Younger folk.
Younger folks. Let's see. So wow, he said, wow, if I'd only known Amex would have got my biz, my grands would have been sleeping with one. Not taking Gramps out. He said, Gramps on deck. All right, so today's topic, we're talking about, you know, do we bring race into everything? Are we too hung up on race? And I thought about this kind of in conjunction with Super Bowl and Rihanna. Hey, Sam. Good morning. Good morning, wife.
Samantha.
Let's see. Just right here. And there we go. All right. With Rihanna, and she's getting complaints from the FCC. Well, people complain to the FCC. I don't think they've received over 100 responses to people complaining about. Mainly, I guess there was a crotch grabbing moment on screen. I had to watch it again because I was like, "What did she do?" You know, like I think Pastor, you said you seen like I really wasn't paying
I
attention.
didn't know. I didn't realize there was an issue until I don't know 5-6 days, a week after
Right.
the Super
Right.
Bowl.
Right.
When I'm like, what did they see?
right. You're like, what? What?
I don't know. I don't.
Because when I saw
But I
the
guess
headline,
maybe I
like,
wasn't paying enough attention to the halftime show. But again, for me, people look at certain people go to the Super Bowl for the halftime show, and
right.
that's the least interest. It's the least interesting part for me.
Right.
Like I missed Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake. I missed it.
Right.
I saw the replay.
Right.
But I missed it live because I don't pay it. Like
good.
I did watch when I guess I don't want to derail the conversation.
No, you're fine. Listen, derail. We'll get back on.
To bring that kind of attention to it, like I don't agree with anybody grabbing their crotch during a performance, male or female. It just doesn't matter. It's just not. It just doesn't seem appropriate. I'm just saying that to make that much of an issue of it, I don't get where all the attention is coming to that, because people talk about, please help me understand what child said, "Oh, mommy, she grabbed her crotch." Who said that?
Right.
Like what child said, "Oh, that's wrong. Oh, dad, did you see what she did?
Did you see what she did?"
Yeah. Like in whose household did that actually happen? Right. Let the children speak if the children are offended.
Right.
Because I hear a bunch of old folks talking about how offensive it was.
Yes. Yes.
And I don't I didn't even see it, and I watched the halftime show.
Right. I want to ask you what we talked about before we got on camera, but I don't know if you want to talk about it, because that was
please.
It's on my head. So we're talking about how am I putting it? Make sure are we hung up on race, and for me, in some respects, well, talking about the Rihanna situation, I don't think it was like racist. I don't think so. I think that because that's trying to come into play, or
so people are complaining, saying that they attacked her.
And that's
out of
some of the websites. I think they're trying to lean towards that, but I think it may have been just they didn't like the music. I don't know. They just just want to complain. I don't know, but so I bring that up.
You know what I didn't like?
What didn't you like?
The opening. Lift every voice and sing.
Oh, yes. He did a great job, though.
Huh?
Singing wise, I like the singing, but what you don't feel. So let's get into it. So you don't feel the Black History moments are appropriate at the Super Bowl?
I don't agree with that.
Okay.
I'm not going to the Super Bowl or watching the Super Bowl to examine Black history.
Right.
I'm going to watch the two best teams compete on the gridiron.
Right.
That's just me. Right.
Yep.
I don't know what else to say. I mean, like, I'm not disagreeing with it. I'm just saying, like, that's not the moment for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's not a Black moment. It's an American moment.
Right. That's good.
And I'm a sports fan.
Right.
So, people can be frustrated with me, but I'm 100% Black.
Right.
That's all that's required. I don't have to be 150%.
Right.
100% is all that's required. I've been a Black man my entire life.
Right.
I love my Black skin.
Right.
But the reality for me is that's not what I'm watching the Super Bowl for.
Right.
And I think that it does create issues. You stirring the pot.
I stop right there. Like, okay, so in my mind, and I'm like, maybe I'm that dude that just not really thinking about it right, because that's what I feel like. Even with the Black Lives Matter written on the streets everywhere, I feel like you're just trying to.
We have a race issue in the world, not in America, in the world. It's a global issue. Right. Anybody who says we don't struggle, we don't suffer from a race. If anybody who says we don't have systemic racism in America is part of the problem.
Right. Right. 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to live life with race being my problem.
Right.
It's important that we recognize that this whole, attacking the quote unquote woke mob and all that. Listen, everybody needs to awaken to the reality of what we're living and what we're experiencing and what has happened in America on all fronts.
Right.
We've had a problem with race in America, and we still have a problem with race in America.
Right.
And it's gotten progressively worse, especially over the last few years.
Yeah.
We can all talk about the triggers and all that kind of stuff, but there has been a question. There has been a challenge. People have been pushed just to choose sides.
Yeah.
And people have chosen sides.
Yeah. I think that's a big one too. You're right.
Yeah.
Instead of working to just, hey, let's just get some understanding and let's just move forward. And, racism is an individual choice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I choose not to let it be an issue for me.
Right.
When it happens, I deal with it.
Right.
I attack it if it's happening to me. Always. Right. I'm going to stand up for myself. I don't have to defend my color. I don't have to defend my race. Right. I don't have anything to prove. The people I have to prove things to carry my last name.
Right. Right. Indeed.
I don't have anything to prove to anybody except to myself. So we have to deal with it. We have to have conversations. We have to have uncomfortable conversations about it. We have to recognize we have people in powerful positions with much influence that have a problem with race. That's real.
Yeah.
America has an identity problem.
Yeah. Okay. So Sam says, I think the in your face is because folks feel unseen and unheard. So they're trying to put it in your face.
Absolutely. And I have no issue with that, because when you ignore me, I have to get louder. You're going to act like I'm not here. I'm going to show you that I'm here. You're going to act like it didn't happen. I'm going to remind you that it did. I'm just not going to hold a grudge. I'm just looking for change. I'm looking for evolution. I'm looking for improvement. I'm looking for better. That's real. I mean, who doesn't want better? Who wants to go backwards? Right. I agree, Samantha. If you don't how can you deal with it if it's not front and center? I do believe that. I'm just saying, and again, my own choice, my personal thing is, I'm not disagreeing with the effort. I'm saying that's not what I go to the football game for.
Right.
I'm going to watch football. I'm not going for someone to prove a point, except that we're the champions. We're the better team than you.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not looking for my race affiliation or my focus on race to come out at the Super Bowl or at the NBA championship or anything like that. I want to emphasize that you had two men of color playing in the Super Bowl for the first time as quarterbacks.
Right.
I think you need to acknowledge that. I think you need to celebrate that. I do believe that. So
definitely.
I don't this whole well, anyway, that's another topic for another day. So
it's all good. It's me and you. We can go there. But I think sometimes, I don't know. And I don't know, like I get we always need to acknowledge, we need to have these conversations. I don't know. Like sometimes I feel like it's overdone. It may be out there a lot. He said, when you hear the Star Spangled Banner, I don't believe it's inclusive for us. And I think
agree.
That's where the divide is. Maybe we need a whole new song. Maybe we need
and in America, it'll never get approved.
I'm just saying, like, because I think that's the battle, right? There's America that has been, you know what I'm saying, with the traditions and standards, and then there's the African America group, like we're separate, like that has been with our traditions and standards, but it's like when do we create a space just to be Americans, right? Just to be Americans.
Well, you can create a space to just be Americans, but the question is, how do you define being an American? what is being an American,
Okay,
because
well,
there are multiple definitions.
I get it. Then we need that's the conversation we need to have. Hey, it's Tori. What's up, Tori? I don't know why I was looking at my man on there. I thought that was Tori. My bad. I apologize. She made a comment and I put "What up, brother?" So just so y'all know context.
Okay, I got
she
you.
made a comment. She's from Periscope. When we used to be on Periscope. I used to be on Periscope years ago. But what up? Good morning.
Welcome, Tori. Well, you do have one of those names,
right? So, said that's the phone.
Beautiful name.
Create a new one, so folks pulled out an old one. I know,
Yeah.
I know, and I guess it's just like those that hold on to like the Confederate flag. They call it their heritage. I've heard that. I don't know. Like, how do we find that? And that's my thing. That probably bothers me more than anything. Like, how do we create an Americanism? I get if that could be a word. How do we really come together? And I don't know, create something, a new space, a sit down, an understanding. I don't know. And I know maybe I'm just, Mama Corey always say, my fairy tale, my fairy tale dreams of unity. But I feel like it's possible. But keeping it 100, the powers that be, people that are in control, they profit off our divide. They profit off us choosing a team, and that goes for both sides. Us being like this, oh yeah, they can always, they have a platform. If we start working it out, a lot of folks lose their platform on both sides.
But listen, man, let me ask you this.
Ask me, brother.
When you are a global icon, can you name a global icon, a person of color that is a global icon?
LeBron James. Person of color.
LeBron James. Wow. Great choice.
Yes.
Has LeBron James overcome racism?
I would assume so, yes.
Why would you assume that? Tell me how do you feel like LeBron James has overcome racism?
I only say it because, he's out in front of a lot of these issues and he talks about it a lot. Now, I guess Michael Jordan has probably overcome racism.
Careful.
He's chosen not to.
Let's stick with LeBron.
Oh no! Really, Jeff? Flavor Flav? Really?
Yes.
But yeah. Okay. So he says not at all. Like never overcome racism.
He has not overcome racism.
Oh, you know what?
Because he talks about it.
Yeah, not overcome racism.
He lives a life.
Yeah.
He has a level of success,
right,
where he can enjoy the best that this world has to offer,
right,
without racism being a hindrance for him.
Right.
Boom. You want to know what the American dream is? Is building a life where no matter what negativities there are in your environment or in your world, they don't hinder you.
Okay.
Thank you, Samantha. He's a black man. You can't overcome that if you're still black. No, you can. What I'm saying is he's not overcoming that, but it hasn't overcome him.
Okay.
He has not allowed racism to be a stumbling block for him.
Right.
He is still successful. He is still a champion. He is still a leader in his household. He's still a loving husband. Right. He's a wonderful example of character, right? Yeah. He's got trauma like everybody else. Comes from a broken home. He won't say that it was a broken home, but the fact that there wasn't a father in the house dictates that it's a broken home. Single parent household, right? But he overcame all of that stuff and still pursued his dreams. And not only for himself, but he pursued dreams and made opportunities possible for people he grew up with. Right. And so what I'm saying is racism has impacted his life at every step. Shut up and dribble is what somebody said.
Yeah.
Right.
Laura Ingalls, I remember.
Somebody spray painted something on his home when he bought a home in Los Angeles. Right. Okay. Racial epithets, whatever you want to call them. But the reality is none of that stuff stopped him. And so my question is, if it hasn't stopped him, why am I going to allow it to stop me? Is it an issue? Absolutely, it's an issue.
Right.
But I'm not going to make it my issue. I'm going to speak my voice and recognize and say things like, you need to acknowledge that this is real. When George Floyd had that unfortunate incident,
Right.
I looked to my non-black friends
Mm.
and I said, what say you?
Right. Right.
Is this murder?
Right.
Right? What say you about Black Lives Matter? Do they? Black Lives Matter is not saying we want to take over. Black Lives Matter says what Samantha said earlier. We're here. This has happened and it continues to happen. Doesn't it matter? Don't we matter? Are we not Americans? Right? This whole, I mean, so what all I'm saying is I needed people. And here's the thing. And I said this, racism didn't start with minorities.
Mm.
We didn't create it.
No.
We've been victimized by it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It's not going to be fixed by minorities.
Right.
It's going to be fixed by the people who started it.
Right.
It's just that simple. And the only way you fix it is to awaken and recognize and acknowledge that it's an issue, and it's an issue that needs to be dealt with by everybody. Right. This is not rocket science, you know? So I challenged my friends. I found out, you know, who I was really connected to. I need you to say something publicly.
Right.
Well, why do I have to do that? Because I asked you to.
Right.
Right. It's just that simple. And for those of you that won't, thank you. Now I know where I stand with you, not where I stand in the world, where I stand with you, because I asked you to say something. And I lost some people. But I also got some relationships solidified.
Right.
Because there were a couple of them that did actually say something, you know, and so, you know, to say that are we too hung up on race? Some people are, some people aren't. But, you know, are you too hung up on, you know, your divorce? Some people are, some people aren't. Are you too hung up on, you know, somebody else's drinking problem?
Right.
Are you too hung up on someone who did you wrong? Mm-hmm. Are you too hung up on that job that fired you? Are you too hung up on the fact that you didn't get that promotion?
Right.
Yeah, people are too. Yeah, there are people that are too hung up on race. Right. Absolutely. I refuse to let that be my downfall.
Indeed.
But I'm going to recognize that it's an issue.
Indeed. Do you feel like we are? I don't know. I guess it isn't us to fix, right? You know, because you can't. If you've been victimized by something, you can't fix it, or you can't really change the perpetrators, you know, or those that are in power or in position that perpetrated. But how do you? I don't know. I'm like hung up on a Martin Luther King mentality, or old Martin Luther King mentality of coming together with a more or less Malcolm X, new Martin Luther King of, you know, separate but equal kind of mentality. And what I mean, how do you, I don't know, how do we peaceably pull this together? Or can we, from our position, peaceably pull this together? And, you know, like if we convinced someone that's America's singer to create a new American song, you know, because it's a start. There's a starting point to erase, or not erase, but to be able to move past our horrific past into a better future for America. Is that possible? And that's kind of like why I kind of brought the question up. Is it, you know, and I get what you're saying, because I've heard a gentleman, well-known pastor, at least on YouTube, say, you know, he left the black church to join a white church to create diversity. And I'm like, so they did it to us, but you're gonna leave us to try to, you know, I didn't agree with that. I'm like, they should be coming to our church to sit down to have these conversations. But Oh, anyway, so that's where I stood on that. But
See, I don't like, for me, you know,
yeah.
the whole black church, white church.
Right.
I struggle with that. Like,
No, I mean, and I'm with you.
you know,
as far
I
as
preach
that,
the
but
gospel. I don't preach a black gospel.
no, 100%, 100%.
So you know, I may have a lot of black people or 100% black people in my church. Does that make it a black church, or is it just a church that has a lot of black people in it?
I hear you. I think it's the latter. You know, it's
Yeah, but we
we call it.
That's
a black
how
church.
we speak.
Yeah, we do. And
right?
But if you go into a lot of churches, my black churches, they
because
speak
of
like
culture.
Yeah, they speak like that.
You know, there's a cultural energy, you know, and you know, you can go up into Alpharetta, and you know, you can go up into DC, you can go up in some churches that are predominantly white, and you hear what you hear in the black church. It just comes off differently.
But see, that's my point right there. So, like, how do we just be? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we serve?
Listen, culture is culture, man. You know, people flock to where they flock to their comfort zones. I have no issue with that. I'm just saying that when we live in a society, when we live in a nation that has these issues, we have to be careful about how we choose our words. We have to be careful about how we express our perception. Those things are critical, you know, and that's, you know, I don't want anybody putting me in a black box.
Right. And I think we put ourselves in a black box sometimes, but yeah.
And I don't want us to put ourselves in a black box.
You're not invited to the cookout.
If we're really trying to be America,
here we go.
We're really trying to be the melting pot, like this, you know. Oh, wrong shit. This right here.
Yes, sir.
I have this up as my background today because I actually rode it this weekend.
Nice.
Proud of myself. Got on my bike, went for a ride.
Nice.
And so I'm feeling my motorcycle right now. But what's interesting is, as I'm riding my motorcycle, I see all these other bikes on the road.
Right.
And I passed, everybody that passed by me waved.
Yeah.
You know, they do the little extension. When you're on motorcycles, you speak, you wave at another motorcyclist, right? And I'm saying that I had people waving at me that didn't look like me. They were acknowledging me, like, yeah, I see you. I see you. Go ahead, man. Get the miles in. Do your thing. All right, male, female, white, black. It didn't matter.
Right.
We had something in common. We were on two wheels.
Right. 100%.
That's what made us common.
Right.
Right. I ride a Harley Davidson. I don't care what type of Harley Davidson you ride. If it's a Harley, you're a part of a brotherhood or a sisterhood for the women, because you have Harley Davidson, the Harley Owners Group, HOG. You have that in common. You're a part of the hog. That's why we ride hogs.
Oh, that's never.
But but people who ride Harleys, big nice Harleys, they're happy that you're on a motorcycle. They're not going to put you down because you're on a Honda.
Interesting.
I think Harley is the greatest motorcycle ever made. Some people think the Indian is the greatest motorcycle ever made. You know, all I'm saying is the thrill and the liberation from being on two wheels and the wind in your face. That's what we all have in common. The vibration of the bike under you, you know, all those CCs, that's what we have in common. And so color doesn't matter.
Right.
But then you join clubs and you make color matter.
See? Oh, that's deep. Let's go, brother. That's good.
I'm just saying, you join a club,
right?
And in this club, we only want white riders. In this club, we only want black riders. I come from a club, was nationally known, but it was 100% black motorcyclists. Right? I joined because they were the biggest, baddest people on the road. Not because they were all black, just because they were the baddest ones out there. You know, that's how I felt. But I'm saying that's what happens. When I was in the military, right? I got military friends. I got veteran brothers that would take a bullet for me, and they don't share my skin color. I've got guys who would go into battle with me that have never been in battle with me before, and they're not my skin color. But because We wore that uniform. We have that in common. And color is not a factor when you're looking over in the foxhole next to you and you're depending on that person to shoot when you can't shoot.
Right.
To fight when you're unable to fight, to be awake when you're asleep.
Right.
You know, and color doesn't matter when you're in that foxhole.
Right.
Right. It's when you get out of the foxhole. It's when you come back to the rear. It's when you go hang out at the bar with your friends that color becomes a factor and you forget that you wear the same uniform.
Right.
That's what happens. Right. Conversation changes. Well, who instigates that kind of stuff? That's all I'm saying. The reality is we have more in common than we give ourselves credit for.
Right. True.
And one thing about being in America, we have America in common. And this whole debate about make America great again, that's a lie from the pit of hell. Because not everybody shares in that. Not everybody can say America at one point was great.
Right.
No. Make America better than it was.
Right.
Period. Make it better.
Indeed.
Make it more inclusive of everybody here.
Clubs do create division and exclusivity. Interesting point. Pastor just brought up the analogy of motorcycles versus clubs. Yeah, definitely. But so how do we eliminate the clubs? How do we get to just being America? How do we?
I don't want to eliminate the club.
You want to eliminate the club? Okay.
I think everybody has individuality, and when you find someone that likes the things that you like, not everybody is going to like what you like. So it's okay. But just because, yeah, for the people who don't like what I like, it doesn't make them my enemy. It just makes them different than me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, what do I do with the differences? Do I ridicule you because you're different?
Right.
No, I should just acknowledge and appreciate that I don't have it all. I don't have the lockdown on culture, creativity, style, any of those things. I don't have all the answers. You know, I think that if more people were just more open-minded, right, and able to receive. I mean, we talk about this stuff. We teach our children the stuff and we fail it as adults.
Right.
You know, get along with your classmates, share and share alike.
Right.
Don't talk about people behind their backs. You know, don't judge people because you don't know where they come from. You know, not everybody comes from the same place. Not everybody's coming from the same distance. Not everybody's traveled the same distance. I mean, it's all of these things that we have that play a role in our lives, man. And we lose sight of that. But we lose sight of it because we're listening to negative influence.
Right.
Right. Now you want to get rid of something. Get rid of the negative influencers.
That's a start.
Get rid of the distractors.
That's a start. Passing just over my eyes. Not all people have America used to. Oh yeah, it used to be great. I never realized that.
Yeah, you didn't talk to enough black people.
Right. What you
talk to some black people and ask them when was America great?
What's the name?
Talk to some Native Americans and ask them when was America great. They'll probably tell you it was great before white people got here.
Right.
Everybody has a different perspective about greatness.
Right.
You know.
So
one person's cellar, one person's basement is another person's rooftop.
True.
One person's valley is another person's mountaintop. It's all about perspective.
Indeed. So no, that's not what I wanted. This one. So he said, "Who says they go to a black church?" I'm curious, and I put that out there because I don't think people say they go to a black church, but I think in choosing where you go, there are certain things that you look for. There are certain things that cause you to, you know, visit or engage.
Comfort.
Yeah.
Security.
Yeah.
Confidence.
Things that you see that just like, oh, this is my people's. This will be comfortable. So I don't, because it, you know, like most people, you probably pass 100 churches.
I went to a service in LA once, a Lutheran church, and somebody said something, and it hit me. I'm like, "Amen," and then everybody. Like, oh, we can't endorse the word.
Not out loud. We just
glory.
We nod our head. You give a
Speak,
nod.
sir. That ain't what David did.
Right. Familiarity. Right.
Familiarity. That's it. That's it.
What the heck was that? I don't know if I agree with that. Since it isn't color. Oh, it's absolutely.
What is the color?
I guess going to find your familiarity. I always struggle with that word. I guess your comfort space in a church, unless you grew up either in a mixed or predominantly opposite color church. You know, I think it absolutely is. I think it absolutely is for not everybody. I'm not saying everybody. There's never exclusivity on that, but I think a lot. He said head snapping, right? Like, what was that? He's new. He's new. He's not been here before.
Yeah. We should be more like him.
Right. So yeah, I get that people may not call it the Black church, even though I think some folks still call it the Black church.
They do.
So, yeah, and it creates kind of a divide. And I think if we maybe that's the start. If we worship more together, and there are some mixed churches, because I think Jake's church is mixed. I know offhand. I think Creflo Dollar's church is pretty mixed. And
yeah, but here's the thing:
not endorsing
your church mixed because you put extra energy into making someone of another culture comfortable. Do you modify your expression
to make?
Are you being authentically you, or are you playing a role to make sure that you remain open and available to all? Is that who you are, or is that a role you play? This term authenticity, because I had to grab a term for the next year of my life, and the term is being authentically me. And it's been really, really troubling for me. It's been trying for me, man, because I've grown up in a world where you hustle, you do whatever you got to do to make it. If I'm trying to make it over here, I'm going to talk like this. Trying to make it over here, I'm going to talk like that. This is how they talk over here. And then I met a man whose dialect never changed, no matter what crowd he was in. And he's successful, highly successful, right? I used to listen to my mom get on the phone and talk to Bill. Hi, this is Shirley McCrory. And then at home, hey, girl. If she knows who's calling.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, girl.
Right.
If she doesn't know who's calling, hi, this is Shirley McCrory.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I'm just saying, we've all played
that
game.
But that's a...
What I'm saying is,
go ahead.
We live in a world where being authentic, as wonderful as it is, as liberating as it is, it can also be detrimental.
Okay.
So people choose. And what I'm saying is, I'm working on just doing me. Right. Everybody, listen. I'm willing to admit that there's areas in my life where I have done it a certain way, to appeal to, like if I'm in, like, I'll give you an example. If I'm doing a presentation before a corporate client, I'm not speaking slang. Y'all know what it is. I'm not in a corporate setting saying,
feel me?
Y'all
We was
know
up
what
this
it
high.
is.
This is down low now. We're not doing what we need to do.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And that's okay, right? But that's part of the hustle. I believe in becoming like that I might win.
Okay, so the adjustment in the ministry wouldn't that be like the same? To create an environment that's more ecumenical, or allowing more people to come in and feel comfortable?
Yeah, that could be right. But what I'm saying is, it's up to the individual to have that defined internally, whether or not you're being authentic.
Right.
It's not for me to decide. for Creflo or for Jakes.
Right.
It's not my position. It's when he looks at the man in the mirror.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
I gotta define my own self.
No doubt.
You know, I'm not gonna live off other people's definition of me. That's
Right.
that's the point. And that's why racism has wreaked havoc on America. You know, you want me to live based on your definition of me,
Right.
and your definition of me is not a good one. Your definition in a racist society, your definition of a black man has him beneath you.
Mhm.
And I'm a king. I'm a king all day, every day. All day, every day. But the same rights and privileges that God has given you, he has given me. Who are you to decide what I can and cannot do, what I'm capable of? The devil is a liar. Devil is a liar.
Right. Interesting.
Using proper English isn't changing for someone. Right. That's my point, Samantha. That's what I'm saying. You know, there's a difference between wanting to be effective and impactful versus wanting to be like somebody else.
Right.
There is a clear difference there. And I think that too many of us get caught up in wanting to be like someone else. And so we lose our authenticity.
So Sam said, why should I go above and beyond to make someone else comfortable?
Well, because I would want someone to do that for me.
Yeah.
If I'm uncomfortable, I want someone to put forth if you see me uncomfortable, talk to me.
Right.
Right. Yeah, because I'm going to work to try to make people comfortable.
Right.
But I'm not going to become someone else to do that.
Right. Right. Yeah. There are certain things that I feel and opinions that I have that just come from who I am and where I stand. And you know, but there's an understanding of what can make a more comfortable environment. You know, hey, what a tweak here or there. Because I'm sure, like, and I mentioned these places of worship. I mean, there's many others that have mixed crowds and they make it comfortable for everybody. You know, I think long as you're not sacrificing your character, you're not sacrificing the truth. And we're talking about sacrificing the gospel in order to make somebody comfortable in a space of worship, you know, or a job or a company. You know, companies have changed language. Companies have shifted how they did stuff because it's like, oh, the environment's changed. We can't do this anymore. I think it's part of what you need to do in order to get the message out. You know, it says I don't ever want someone to be who they aren't to make me comfortable. Oh yeah, definitely. It won't hold, or eventually the real you is going to come out. Be straight with me, 100%. I think the rec one-on-ones definitely in a religious setting, whoever's the pastor or the one running the house, you know, they're going to be real, you know. But sometimes it's like, I guess if your words are harsh or you just like, man, like, can you like, I get your point. Can you find a better way to say it? You know, like, because there are those moments, you know, because you're speaking to a broader audience. Sometimes we slim our audience down because of our direct tone, you know, like state your point, but you don't have to be so hard about it. You know, I think there are those moments, but you know, I think it's possible. We just have to say it's Joel Osteen is the same at every church you go to, in a black church, a white church. Stop playing. You know, but black
but
people
again,
black.
but you know, Joel Osteen. You know, we talk about you opened up. We were having a conversation before we got on live,
right?
And you were out somewhere and you saw a professional athlete, right?
Yes.
You saw Cam Newton.
Yes.
You didn't recognize him. That doesn't surprise me because you're not a sports person.
Right.
But I still think you should have known who Cam Newton is. That's really sad.
Right. I didn't know. I didn't know who it
was. But you said something. You said he was dressed really uniquely.
Yes.
Right. And my thing is that's because Cam Newton can afford his haters.
Right.
You're going to be authentic when you can afford your haters.
Yeah, true.
You're not worried about anybody.
True. True.
And Joel Osteen can be the same person every time.
This is my Bible. Yes.
Right? He's the same person every time. The real question, and that's because he can afford to be the same person every time. Right?
100%.
But the real question is, have you ever seen him with the cameras off?
Right. Yo, I think he's like a
no.
world when he get
you
upset.
haven't. You
No, we're
haven't.
not seen him with the cameras off. No,
we don't see him with the cameras off.
No, never.
And whatever his world is, he lives in a very protected world.
Yes, 100%.
Right. So he's always on display.
Yes.
Everywhere he goes, when he steps out of his house, he's on display.
Yeah.
Right. My question is, who is he in the house? Right. And I don't know. I have no idea who he is in the house. I'm just saying that certain people can afford their haters.
Right.
And you can be anybody you want to be when you can afford your haters. I hope that's making sense, man. I don't know if I might be talking sideways.
Okay. No,
because I got a lot of things in my head about this.
All right. So Jeff said, I have a Christian brother who was fluffy all the time. I thought he was a nice guy. Like if you meet somebody, like if you know somebody outside of anything, you hope that character shows. He said, I got him a job as our cafe operator at Toyota. That dude turned out to be I know. Nobody liked him. So to Sam's point, just be a upfront. I got you.
But the thing is, we don't know if something triggered him.
That could be it too.
Right?
That could be.
Did anybody ask, like, why are you so different than what?
Yeah.
Has something happened?
Right.
In most cases, we go, oh man, I completely misjudged that person.
Right.
But we never dig in to find out if there was a trauma. If there was, and I'm not saying that's our job to do all of that kind of stuff, but I'm saying if you're going to talk about the shift, if you're going to talk about the person, give the person the benefit of the doubt and go ask them, give them an opportunity to explain it to you before you go running your mouth.
Right.
Certain things are better left unsaid.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's just the truth. You don't know my enemies.
Yeah. I think
you've known me all these years. You don't know my enemies because I don't talk about my enemies.
Right.
It's a waste of time. I know that they exist, but I'm not going to spend time on my enemy. What's wrong with versus what happened? Absolutely.
Right. What's wrong?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
And we'll talk about the outcome, but we don't want to deal with what's wrong versus what happened. It's easier for us to just talk about what we see and cast dispersions,
I got you.
And that's just.
For me, when it comes to situations like that, you always talk about work or job, something that people, yes, Jeff, we're laughing at your comment. It was a stick in his, All right, so I think usually in conversation you can kind of tell who they are. They're like, yeah, man, I gotta go do this job, but I'm trying to find a reason to call out. I'm gonna leave early. I'm going in late. I don't care. For me personally, that's the interactions I have. I can kind of tell what their work life was like. But like you said, you met him and he was cool, but it might have been something that triggered him at work, like someone talked to him wrong, supervisor on his back about something. He might have tried to handle it right. He just couldn't. It's just like, you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm out. So you're right. He had messed up. He had a messed up child, pastor. I do know that. See, someone sounded like his mom or daddy. It was like, you know what? I'm out.
And you're out there, you're serving coffee and crumpets, snacks in a dealer, in an automobile dealer cafe. What, man? Man, I don't know what personalities he was interacting with on a daily basis.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah. Because, some people coming into that Toyota place with, 800 credit score, and some people coming in there with, 549 credit score.
Right.
And both people want a coffee. One person wants a coffee because he feels like he's owed the coffee.
Right.
Another person wants the coffee because they feel like the coffee is a blessing.
Right. Yes. You got coffee here?
Yeah.
Oh, this is real. This is real.
Yeah.
just
You
just the
know,
wrong position for him. Right. That's
800 credit score coming up in there. You're not moving fast enough for my coffee.
I deserve to be served faster.
Yeah. 549 is up there like,
Oh,
which
you
one
got
do I
flavors?
want?
Right,
Which one? You got different flavors, and you up there like, would you pick one? You don't even know what you want. You ever see the person at McDonald's looking at this menu has been the same for 100 years. Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out what I want today.
Right.
You want the same thing you had yesterday.
No.
It's all about perspective, man. How we process things that we encounter. So,
100%.
I just hope that after an encounter with me, people feel better.
That's good.
Right? That's it. That's all I'm looking for. I don't want anybody walking away from me feeling worse than they felt when they came in contact with me.
Right. Definitely.
That's a problem. Now, my hope is that if you don't feel good, maybe it's because it hasn't sunk in yet, and you'll feel good later.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, he get upset because you asked for sugar-free creamer. Yeah, sugar-free creamer at a automobile cafe. Yeah.
So we appreciate you guys for rocking with us. Another edition of Brothers of Legacy. Thank you guys for supporting it, always sharing, caring, and being a part. All right. So you might have some changes coming through soon. So just stay tuned for that. We appreciate you again. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Don't worry, not going away. Look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Same time, same channel. He was a real jewel. Don't do that. Don't do that to the brother. Thank you guys for being here. And listen, if you've not shared the broadcast, make sure you share the broadcast. Also, if you missed any of our episodes, check out our podcast on any podcast app or Spotify, whatever. Check us out. And if my internet's been wonky, so this episode is brought to you by Charter Spectrum. Tomorrow's episode is going to be brought to you by AT&T. So we're going to see if it's going to be better. All right. Thank you, Mama Corey. Appreciate you. Thank you for always keeping us in line, keeping us in check, checking in on us. Appreciate you. All right. He said, what? He said, I get a coffee down the street. I didn't want to get yelled at.
Reminds me of Jerry Seinfeld, the soup Nazi, coffee Nazi.
Oh, guys. No soup for you. All right. So we see you guys tomorrow, same time, same channel. Be blessed. Know that we love you. Jesus loves you more. Stay safe. 988, if you or someone you love is having a mental health crisis. Also, if you're having a mental health crisis, 988 is also have licensed therapists to talk to on point of contact. So you have an opportunity there. All right. So we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Stay safe. Make good choices. And if you don't succeed, then eat cake. Peace out. Oh, here we go. Right there.